Mm, 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 mm. Every time that does that, that just really irritates me so much. 'Cause I can't believe this live is so low like that. Try to go live on my other phone and see what happens. See what it does. Turn up my volume, make sure all of them are good. Okay, hey you guys, I wanted to drop in real quick. I'm talking kind of low because it's still early where I'm at, and some people are still sleeping in my house, my kids. And I wanted to come on here and talk about this real quick, especially for diabetics that are on TPNs. You're drinking some sort of Ensure. What's the other one? Glucerna, Nutrient. Nutrient, they say, are more specifically designed for diabetics, but I'm going to be honest with you, that may be the source of what they refer you over to get off the other ones like Glucerna or Ensure. First off, let me jump into it. So I wanted to come on early today, especially before I get ready to get my kids going for school and before I get ready to go to work, because I wanted to hopefully catch some of you early birds that are up. And say, for instance, you guys need to check your blood sugars. I just wanted to go over this because I think this is really, really important. I had to talk about this in a visit with one of my patients yesterday, and this live is going to be specifically for diabetics that you guys are on, or you guys have a G tube or PEG tube feeding. Let's say sometimes you do take something by mouth, or you are totally nothing by mouth, and you get all of your nourish and nutrition from your nourishments and your nutrition solely from the PEG tube or the G tube. I don't think this is discussed enough and talked about, because a lot of times what I notice with patients, they don't seem to understand the association between the two and how it happened or why they may need to be on insulin. And moving forward, I really wanted to discuss this for you all on my platforms. In the event this is something that you guys are dealing with, you guys have somewhat of basic knowledge pertaining to what could be going on, because I'm not really sure of you guys' total health history and why you guys have certain medications and things that were prescribed to you. But I really wanted to come on here and talk about this and share this with you guys. So let me get into my disclaimer. For those of you guys that are new to my platforms or you are not aware of who I am Unlimited Faith of 5 off of Instagram. I'm Healing at Home on all of the platforms. I'm Mastering Healing at Home on my YouTube channel. And I get on here, I'm a licensed wound care nurse. I get on here and talk about, or I teach diabetics about diabetes. I come on my platforms various times throughout the week, but I am going live each and every week discussing various topics to help diabetics learn more about diabetes in the event they do not have a resource or they do not have a way to pertain certain information. You know, you guys are just kind of lost relating to why things are happening, why you're prescribed certain medications, why certain changes are happening. I mean, I talk about everything relating to diabetes. And so I like to utilize my platforms to be able to do so. And so I ask, given my disclaimer, that you guys do your research, you guys speak this information over with your providers, you guys execute with them in relation to how to help yourself and learn how to advocate for yourself, because that's solely what I built my platforms for. So I really wanted to get into this topic for diabetics that are on G tubes, you guys are on PEG tubes, and say, for instance, you don't know why you're being prescribed insulin. And better yet, I really want for diabetics that you guys don't have any oral oral intake concerns, where you guys can eat without a problem, but you just like to drink Ensures. You guys just like to drink Glucerna. I really want to speak this over to you guys as well because I find that very common also. And I want you guys to be able to realize that this is going to spike your blood sugars and have you more likely to be hyperglycemic throughout the day. Drinking those type of nutrition versus you just eating a meal. So yesterday I visited a patient, and my patient, new patient of mine's, is on. They have like a peg tube feeding, and my patient was prescribed insulin. Not too sure why they had to take insulin. Did not know anything about insulin. Have diabetes for a couple of years now, but not too not too well in depth of the knowledge related to diabetes and why certain things happen within the body the way that they do. And so I had to educate my patient relating to their insulin that they will now be taking, what it's going to be doing in the body, and also I really wanted to break down why it was important to monitor the blood glucose levels and what to expect along the way. So I wanted to share this with you guys on my platforms because I really think it's important for you guys to have this information. Now let's jump into this. So I'm going to give you all an example of an order. Let's say that your order is to run that G tube 70 cc's, which is 70 mLs per hour, right? You give yourself that amount of feeding, and you are to have it on for a certain amount of hours. In my particular case with my patient, the hours is 12 hours, so from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning. And let's say your doctor says, well, with my particular patient, there's different orders, right? One of the orders from the primary, they didn't give any orders to check the sugar levels. But from I think I don't remember the department. Oh, it's on my top. I can't stand when I go blank like that. Um, Gosh, the other specialist is for my patient to check the diabetes, blood sugar levels. I believe my patient told me at least 3 or 4 times per day. Here's why it's important for you to check that blood sugar. And I'm just going to tell y'all straightforward. It doesn't matter, you know, when you check the blood sugar, honestly, um, because your blood sugar levels are going to be high. I want you guys to I want you guys to be consciously aware that anytime we are providing patients with that type of feeding, right? A, a TPN feeding, total parental nutrition feeding, where you are getting feeding, a bulk feeding like that from like a line or something, or you have a peg tube, G tube, nasogastric tube, right? And we put you on that type of nourishment or nutrition. We're doing that because technically there's some sort of problem with oral intake, or you keeping down the food, or there's a problem with weight. So we want to ensure, and if you guys ever look on the back of those labels, it's filled with everything that's going to provide you with the ability to still get up and have the energy and keep going every single day. You don't lose weight, right? It is not worried about low carbs, because a lot of times we need to ensure that your weight stands appropriate based off of your age and your height. So we are not really focused on let's provide a low carb type of meal or nutrition, because we're focused on ensuring that you receive all of the nourishments and nutrition that you need every single day, especially if you're not able to eat by mouth. Okay? So I want y'all to understand it's high in basically everything, right? And um, you're going to always be high checking your blood sugar levels, which is why the doctor is immediately, 9 out of 10 times. I'm not saying that there aren't cases where you aren't taking metformin, right? And insulin on those type of nutrition. But 9 out of 10 times, they're skipping the pills and going into the insulin because we need something to work rapidly. We need something to work fast. So this will keep you from being hyperglycemic all day long, because we understand that the body's has to it has to digest, it has to go through the process of digestion, it has to do a whole bunch of things, and we also understand 9 out of 10 times you're already insulin resistant, right? So we're not focused on a lot of times your doctor's not really focused on. Now, I'm not saying there isn't these cases, because you may find some cases where you're still taking a pill form, a diabetic pill form, to help, the pancreas release insulin and things like that, right? But 9 out of 10 times, to what I've seen working in the communities over my years of being a nurse, we're going straight to the insulin, because we need something to work immediately. We need it to work fast acting. We need to sustain you throughout the day. Now, with my particular patient, I was explaining to my patient, more than likely, the doctor is going to increase the insulin dosage that you're getting, and or put you on a second form of insulin, maybe like a short acting, or a short acting where my patient's going to get a certain amount of insulin short acting 3 times per day, or my patient is going to get a scale on top of the long acting that they're getting once a day. And I was explaining to my patient, this 10 units of insulin that you're getting once a day at night is not going to help you. I can almost reassure you. I can damn near reassure you, because I've been doing this for a long time to know what numbers look like. Um, I've been doing this for a long time because I pay attention, I research, I read, and I just see how different things act within the body off of, and I'm only solely going off of what my experience. I can't speak about nobody else's experience. I can only talk about mine. But in my experience, what my patient is going to be receiving, which is 10 units once a day at night, it is solely not enough insulin to cover the amount of calories and carbs that they're going to be receiving for 12 hours out the night. And damn, I wrote that order down. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's just not enough. And so what's important for you guys to have an accurate amount, because at this point in time, if there's a problem with you eating something by mouth, it is going, like, we're not really focused on, and I hate to say this, y'all, because I promise you it sounds so bad. It sounds so bad when you think about it. But in this case, say, whatever the reasons why you have that feed tubing, or that feeding tube, there's a problem. Like, you can't take something orally by mouth, you can't keep it down, right? There's either weight problems, there's problems internally with the system, whatever's going on. So these unfortunate situations put individuals at risk for diabetes, right? Or you already have diabetes. We talking to two different people. I want you to just stay focused on me. So we're not focused on less trying to get the A1C levels down, as bad as that may sound. We're focused on managing it every single day. Absolutely, because we don't want you to go hyperglycemic where you go into a coma, right? But we want to stabilize it, and they're going to stabilize it with the insulin, right? If you aren't able to keep food down by mouth, right, and there's a problem with oral intake, it doesn't make sense to give you oral pills, because there's a problem with digestion. There's a problem orally with keeping food down, anything, right? Nausea, all kind of stuff, excessive vomiting. I just want you to think of all the reasons, the possible reasons that can happen. So we're not going to be like, oh, let me give you a PO pill, for you to take. And we know dang well that doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense to go directly to the insulin. So if you want to be where you have an accurate type of amount that is going to work based on your particular situations, it's important for you guys to monitor that. However many times they tell y'all need to monitor it. If y'all order is to do it 3 times a day, 2 times a day, 4 times a day, unfortunately, you're gonna have to prick yourself that many times per day. And it's always best that you rotate the sites. I always speak about that in a lot of my content because you guys don't want to keep going after the same site. You need to rotate it. And what else? Monitor and jot this down. That way, when you go in for your follow up appointment, you can get the accurate around amount of treatment for you based off of what your doctor sees on your paper. Now, if you do not have a diabetic logbook, you guys can click the link in my bio and purchase my diabetic logbook that I have. This is going to give everything that we need. Included in here is everything that your doctor needs to see so they can be able to help you, right? And this is going to be able to give you the ability to monitor your blood sugar levels 4 times a day, because 9 out of 10 times, that's how much we need you to monitor it, okay? 4 times a day. I haven't seen anything over that. So what I've included in my diabetic logbook is everything that I know your doctor needs to be able to see in order to be able to help you get treated accordingly and not be on not be on a medication or a therapy regimen that does not work well for you based off of your particular needs and what you're reporting for them to be able to see, which is really important. And so I wanted to be able to share that with you guys. My particular patient, the A1C is high. And what I'm going to be focused on more than anything is just daily balancing. I don't have very many options with this particular patient because we have a problem with oral intake. And that is what's really going to inhibit us from being able to really lower the blood glucose levels. The only thing I can really focus on with my patient is stabilizing these numbers. And the best way to do that is uh, figuring out the best like feeding nutrition that they'll be able to have. Now, there is a nutrition those feeding out now. Oh gosh, what's the name of them? It's Nutrien. There we go. It's Nutrien. That's more so what they say, designed for diabetics. And it's Nutrien versus the Glucerna or the Ensure. And I know it's some more. Um, Gosh, over the years, I have dealt with so many different food too. I think it's one with the O. And then I believe it's another one. Oh, Jevity. Yeah, let me write this down so I don't forget. It's Jevity. I believe it's one with an O. Gosh, I don't remember the name of that one. Glucerna, Ensure, Nutrient, Jevity, and I know for sure it's one with the O because if I'm not mistaken, it's in like a purple and white little cart. But what they say is the best one for diabetics is the Nutrient. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, they all high. Okay, they all high because I want y'all to think about what we're focusing on, the reason why you having it, right? This may have a little bit less possibly than the others, but they still typically all run the same risk for each individual of you having hyperglycemia and needing to be on insulin. Now, for you guys that are just drinking this throughout the day because y'all like how it tastes, or you feel like it's helping you with your weight, or you don't have much of an appetite, but you need to eat something, and you found that when you tried the Ensures that you purchased in the stores that it worked well for you. Well, guess what? You are running a high risk of you gaining weight, being more insulin resistant, and being hyperglycemic throughout the day. If you do not have a problem with oral intake and eating your food, y'all need to go back to eating. Okay? Try something light on y'all stomach. Try some fruit. Try, some smoothies. Try some salad. Try some vegetables that you like. Try something other than you going to these type of nourishments for nutrition. Because what you're going to find over time, this is going to spike your blood sugar levels every single day. And then when your doctor starts talking to you about, you reach a certain age, it's time for you to go in and do some blood lab work. Say you have a yearly physical and they want to do lab work on you to see where your numbers are, and you're supposed to be fasting by midnight before you go in and take the HbA1c blood lab test, right? The glucose test. However, we find it didn't too much look like you fasted because your sugar levels were high. And then you're like, I don't know how I became a diabetic. This is what you're thinking. These are some of the problems that you're going to have, right? So if you don't have that concern, stop it. Literally. And speak with your primary doctors about this. As I want to tell you guys, I got to start remembering to say that again throughout my whole lives, because I just want y'all to be consciously aware of what's going on and do y'all research. If nutrition is a problem for you, you need to figure out why it's a problem for you. You need to figure out why you're now, as we age, our appetite decreases anyway. So that's not a problem. That's realistic, right? That's an expected uh, change in the body as we age. Our appetite decreases. You're not going to be as hungry as you were when you were in your early 20s, or you were, in your late 20s, whatever the case may be. So don't be too alarmed about that, where you're going in, you know, telling the doctor these particular things, and now we have all these particular problems, when really that's a normal change. And I believe, let's say you are diabetic and um, you have a concern similar to what I just got through speaking about, somewhat similar to my patient. I believe it's speech therapy that works with individuals, as far as with getting them to tolerate food again. And so see if you can get you a speech therapist to come out to help. And what they'll do, if I'm not mistaken, is they get like these little small cup feedings, maybe pudding or jello or something to start you off, just to see how well you can tolerate that by mouth before they gradually increase you and to other foods that you can eat and start to change your diet, so you can kind of work towards getting off that G tube and that peg tube feeding. If you have the ability to still be able to eat by milk, let's say you had a previous problem in the past, you had a history of something, right? But now that's a history. It's no longer a concern. You passed, or you are cleared from any test results that you had to do, any exams. You don't still have the problem, but you still have this feeding. You're still feeding from there, right? And you want to try and work your way off of it. Speak with your providers about that, so they can get you not a physical therapist, a speech therapist to come out and work with you on your feeding and being able to change your diet, so they can kind of gradually get you off of that. And that's another way that you can work your way off of that. So then you can learn how to work on the diabetes and lowering the blood sugar levels every single day, because you're not totally relying on food solely from these feeding tube feeding, excuse me. I don't know why I was getting caught up in my words. So that's another option for you as well, if you are someone that do not have that concern. But I just wanted to hop on here really quick and share that with you guys, because I just think that's super important for people that aren't aware. And a lot of times people aren't aware that these are some of their options or some of the things that could be going on. And I just believe that it's best, you guys have as much information as possible, especially if you're a caregiver. If you have an infant child that is on these type of feeding tubes. Matter of fact, I need to change my heading to that as well. And you guys aren't really too sure why these things are happening. All right. I'll see y'all later. Oh, I gotta go with fan base and take y'all off first, because this thing be taking forever. It's one of the weirdest things ever. I really don't understand why it does that. Just gonna turn that off.